Hey, you. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking to you. Are you looking for the best way to promote your podcast? It's easy. Just advertise your podcast to your ideal target audience. That's right, listeners of similar podcasts. Podbean has the best and most cost-effective options for you. Just go to the website sponsorship.podbean.com/STR. That's right, your friends here at Scout Team Radio are hooking you up. Go to sponsorship.podbean.com/STR and you will get the best deals to get your podcast rolling. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy Scout Team Radio.
Yeah.
You want to like them, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, welcome back. It is a beautiful Monday morning, and you are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every weekday morning. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
I guess. And the man on the other microphone, he is a great American, a great patriot, and sometimes he bleeds red, white, and blue, and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's your boy Chris America coming to you live this Monday morning, and it is a sad Monday morning, Loudbeard. I just want to get the depressing news out of the way. The Magic dropped 2 games this weekend.
Oh, yeah, you did have to bring that up first, huh? That's where you're going with this.
You know what?
This is how that goes,
Let's just sweep it out of the way, and then we get the rest of the show to be happy-go-lucky guys.
Okay. All right. Well, I can live with that. Yeah, Magic have a little bit of a rough weekend, and the NBA playoffs, they are what we thought they were, right? Like, all the top-seeded teams are doing to the lower-seeded teams what exactly they should be doing.
Yes, to an extent.
I mean, I think to the extreme, to fight like a vandal.
I like that. Now, the Clippers put up a fight, and the Magic have been putting up a fight, and the Spurs, what's that series at now? Is it 2-2?
2-2.
Yeah. So it's not exactly going to plan, and the team that we didn't expect to be done and ready for the second round right away was the Boston Celtics. Usually that 4 versus 5 seed is usually the round that goes to the 7th game, and that one was done and over with. And I don't think it was ever close. Like, the games were close, but you could just tell that Boston was just simply the better team.
Yeah, they absolutely were. I don't know if I ever really gave the Pacers a chance, though. Going into this, the Boston Celtics have the more talented team. They have the bigger playmakers. You can name a lot more of the players on that team. Like, if I said, Chris America, who's the starting 5 for the Indiana Pacers, you'd be like, that one guy.
Reggie Miller, right? He's still on that team?
Reggie Miller, yeah, that's probably the best guess you have. But if you say who's the starting lineup for the Celtics, you're going to be like, oh,
is Ron Artest still on the Pacers? Paul George?
They call him Meta World Peace. Get it
Paul
right.
George? Well, when he was on the Pacers, he was Ron Artest, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. But now he's going all world peace on you.
Yeah, what about Paul George? Is he still on the Pacers?
No. I mean, you're getting closer, though. Warmer. He was.
Then I got
soon.
nothing. I got nothing for you.
Yeah,
Victor Oladipo.
Yes, he is on the Pacers, but he's hurt.
All right, I'm out. So the
disappointment,
Magic.
Huh?
I noticed you tried to sweep away the Magic, okay? Let's talk about Friday night first. Friday night was fun. It was close. 16-4 run, though, did us in the third quarter. We lost by 5. I don't want to talk about last night's game.
All right.
Last night's was a blowout. And last night, those last 2 games, they got me feeling poetic, Loudbeard. And you know it's Poetry Month.
It is Poetry Month. you had all weekend to prepare, so this better be your best yet.
This is going to be one that was inspired by the Orlando Magic's weekend. You ready for it?
Yes.
I even got a little emo title with it. It's called Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
Okay.
The world is a vampire sent to drain. Secret destroyers hold you up to the flames. And what do I get for my pain? Betrayed desires and a piece of the magic game. Even though I know, I suppose I'll show all my cool and cold like old Job. Despite all my rage, Loudbeard, I'm still just a rat in a cage. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage. Then someone will say, what is lost can never be saved. It can't be, because once the game's over, it's done. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage.
Oh,
Thank
bravo,
you.
sir. Bravo. And
Thank you.
I liked how my name was in there, Loudbeard, so you added some really good emphasis in that. And then
because we were there together. Remember Friday we were watching it together?
We did.
So,
we watched that game together.
Yeah.
Now, can I give a little suggestion? So
What's that?
It is an emo song. So
yes.
when you're reading it out in the spoken word, the word pain, you should emphasize it a little bit more. You should be like,
do you think I should be like
pain?
I like that.
Yeah,
I'll
something
do that
like
next
that.
time.
Yeah. And for next time. Yeah, that would work. Another beautiful poem for you. April being Poetry Month. I mean, we've been giving some hot poems day in and day out. So you're really hitting it out of the park. I'm just saying.
I'm on fire,
beautiful.
man. I'm like on NBA jams. He's on fire.
You are definitely on fire. Not like our Orlando Magic. But you mentioned the San Antonio Spurs game. That one is the only game that right now is tied 2-2. Every other game, it seems like it's going the way we thought it would go. And unfortunately, it just doesn't make for great NBA playoffs. This first round, honestly, I'm going to say it.
Hold on.
I've been disappointed.
What?
Yeah.
Did you watch that Brooklyn Nets Philadelphia Sixers series? There's been fighting. They've been going at each other. Saturday night's game or Saturday afternoon's game was fantastic. Went down to the wire. Yes, the Brooklyn Nets are down 3-1, but they've been putting up a fight, and that's been a fun series to watch. It's way better than what the Boston Celtics Indiana Pacers series has been. Man, like I think because you're looking at the actual records of the games and they're 3-1s, 3-1s, 4-0s. You're thinking, oh, this is not a good for the NBA playoffs. But these games have been fun. We got GMs getting suspended because he went to the locker rooms to curse out the refs. We got brawls going on, and I got something for KD and Kyrie. If y'all want to go play in New York and you want to be in the New York market, why waste your time and energy with the Knicks? I would go to that Brooklyn Nets team. If KD went to that Brooklyn Nets team, they would instantly become the best team in the East and could contend for a title.
You bring up a good point. The Nets have shown me a lot. That team has a ton of fight in them, and you're right. That series has been fun. Now, the score right now, or the series, is at 3-1, so it's tough to come back 3-1, especially with the talent that the 76ers have. And the Nets just don't have an answer for Joel Embiid. But the Nets, with D'Angelo Russell and Karis LeVert and just some of these young guys that you're just sitting there saying, okay, this is a team of the future. This is a team that's building a real good quality team that's going to compete year in and year out because they have a lot of young talent, and it has been fun. And a guy like Jared Dudley, you talk about that fight. Man, I love what that guy's doing. He's like, I'm just going to get in the heads of these guys, man. I'm just going to do what I've got to do. So I just the combination there. And, of course, Dudley goes in and he's defending his teammate. Jared Allen takes a big foul from Joel Embiid. He gets right up in Joel Embiid's face. Of course, Jimmy Butler comes over and pushes him, and the scrum breaks out. But every game has been just a battle with these two teams. So that part has been fun. And, of course, the 76ers have to throw shade on Jared Dudley after that. Joel Embiid's calling him a nobody. But that nobody's getting in your head. Joel Embiid, he's getting in everybody's head of the 76ers. So they're doing a great job battling against the 76ers. So I will give you that one, Chris America. That series has been fun.
Yeah, and Embiid's been quite the comedian after each game. He had the first of all, that guy's a nobody. He's got that comment after the third game, and then in game 4, he says, "Oh, we're up 3-1. We got to just make sure we don't do what Golden State did 2 years ago." And then Jimmy Butler busts out laughing and walks off the press conference.
It's true though. 3-1.
It is.
You don't want to. Yeah. You don't want to lose it all.
You don't want to lose it all.
Yeah. So that I'll give you that, Chris America. You coming in hot with that take. I thought the Blazers Oklahoma City series would be like that one where it was a little bit closer, but the Blazers they're outplaying Oklahoma City by a lot, and Russell Westbrook continues to struggle shooting, and that's going to be a problem for Oklahoma City because they're basically now going ahead and letting Billy Donovan know that if they lose one more game, I think he's going to be done. Like everybody's crying out for his head right now.
Yeah, we've been talking about that.
It's a done deal, I think, at this point.
I was kind of surprised he came back this year, but I think they were just like, let's give him one more year. But 2 first-round exits in a row, even though, I mean, look, he's the 7th seed playing the 2 seed, but you shouldn't have Oklahoma City as the 7th seed. Or, no, sorry, he's the 6th seed playing the 3rd seed.
Yeah, and the Blazers as the 3rd seed. I thought they were going to hurt a little bit when they lost their big man, but McCollum and Lillard are playing lights out. And honestly, I'm going to say this. McCollum and Lillard, they could be the best backcourt in the NBA. And that's hard to say when there's a Klay Thompson and a Steph Curry out there. But these two guys, I am impressed.
Yeah, and you talk about those guys, again, another market, another team that if KD's ready to leave Golden State and do something else, is a better option for him to go to than the New York Knicks.
Well, I can name, I think, 29 teams that are better than than the Knicks.
You could, yeah.
I mean,
but these are just ready-made teams that are just right there. They're just missing one player to put them over the edge.
Yeah, and that's what the Trailblazers are. They're one player away. Oh, man, it's crazy. And, we talked about the Magic game, but I didn't really mention at all about how good the Raptors are. The more I watch this team, the more I realize that they are built to last. They are built to make it all the way through. I mean, there is talent so deep on this team. Siakam, I love the way that guy plays, and he has come in and he's become. It's funny because last year it was DeRozan, Lowry was like the Batman and Robin, and they fell short and they couldn't compete against the LeBron James-led Cavaliers. This season, you come in and Kyle Lowry's like the 3rd or 4th guy on this team. Now you've got what Kawhi's doing, and then this guy Siakam comes out of like nowhere, and he becomes the 2nd best player on this team. And then you pick up Marc Gasol in the middle of the season, and just the depth on this Raptors team is just unreal. And that's what's hurting the Magic. It's not so much that the Magic are playing terrible. They've struggled a little bit offensively, though Aaron Gordon had a huge game last night. It's the fact that the Raptors are so good, and it's not that they're just good offensively. That team is like an all-NBA defensive team when you look at their 5 starting guys. It is unbelievable how talented this Raptors team is. So they're starting to look scary as this second round is approaching for them.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking as you were talking, I'm like, this team is a grinding team. This is a team that'll just wear you down and then open it up. Like they can score on you offensively. They're obviously not as elite as Golden State, but Golden State's more of the sexy team where the Toronto Raptors are that meat and potatoes. Like we're gonna grind you down and then we're gonna just beat you on the offensive floor every other drive. And we don't go cold often. And when we do, we're able to bounce back and go on a run of our own if we need to. So that's what I like about this Toronto team. And I hope we can see Kawhi stay in Toronto. I like seeing all these new markets and these smaller markets have good teams. If my Magic can't do it, then I'm rooting for all of these other smaller markets or these non-traditional teams like the Portland Trailblazers, the Toronto Raptors, and even though they're in the city of New York, the Brooklyn Nets are still the secondary team there,
Yeah, and they always have been. When they were in New Jersey, now that they're in Brooklyn, they aren't given that credit like they really need because they're that second team. They're always going to be the second fiddle, kind of
Yeah.
like the Clippers in L.A. When the Clippers got good, when they finally got Blake Griffin and then Chris Paul had gone to the Clippers, I was excited to see that, even though it's an L.A. team, which typically I hate L.A. teams. I don't know why, but I have this bad blood because I feel like they're arrogant, cocky, all of that. The Clippers always felt like that stepchild that got abused by the step parent or something because the LA Lakers were always like, I'm better than you. We're always going to be better. You're in our house, and we're not going to give you any sort of recognition. We're going to be the best team. And when the Clippers were good, it felt good for the NBA. Same thing with the Brooklyn Nets. When the Brooklyn Nets are good, to me, that's better for New York than just the Knicks, even though the Knicks have so much, I guess, the fandom and that deep, rich history. But I don't care, man. Bring on the Nets. I love it.
Yeah. And even when LeBron James was everybody knew LeBron was going to the city of LA because they knew what his goals were and what he wanted to do next in his career. Nobody really said, what about the Clippers? It was always the Lakers. Always the Lakers. And if LeBron was, I'm not going to say LeBron was smart. LeBron should have gone to the Clippers. If he wanted to continue his legacy and go to the playoffs, like if he didn't want to miss the playoffs this year, he should have gone to the Clippers.
Well, in hindsight, LeBron could have gone a lot of places that would have been better
Well,
off
yeah,
than
but
the Lakers.
But he wanted to go to the city of LA for his production company, right? So if you're going to go to LA, at least you have two options there. Why not go with the better option? But instead, he went with the brand instead of the good team, which I felt like was a bad decision.
Yeah, it was a bad decision. Though the Clippers, I think at this point, have overperformed based on what we thought they were. I would have said at the beginning of the season, like the Clippers, oh, yeah.
But you still looked at the Clippers roster and the Lakers roster, and you knew which team was better.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And now Clippers are in the playoffs and the Lakers aren't, so I guess that worked out for LeBron.
Imagine LeBron James on that team.
Though LeBron's getting some much-needed rest. The guy hadn't made the playoffs a lot, so he's probably enjoying himself, man.
He's probably extending his career by missing this playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Now, that's good for him. Good for him. He needs a rest. I like this. He'll bounce back next year, but, yeah, he needed a rest. A couple teams that are going to be getting a lot of rest here soon. Pistons and Jazz are both in 0-3 holes in their series, and it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of fight left on either of these teams, does there?
No. I mean, they're playing well. They're playing better than the Pistons are, but, yeah, tough go for those guys. The James Harden, not a good night Saturday night. He was too busy trying to work on his acting skills than he was his shooting skills because he had a lot of ridiculous over-the-top flops, and there was one play where a guy went by him and he acted like he got slit in the throat. There was just a whole lot of just weird faces and just over-the-top trying to get a foul called for him. It was ridiculous.
Well, I mean, that was extremely dangerous. That shoulder came very close to maybe break, totally brushing up against his neck. And if that were me, I would have thought I was totally dying and being choked to death. Yeah, that slit on the throat, just like he did. That was legit. Don't even go after that. That's a scary play.
It is. It is.
Yeah. He almost looked like what was that terrible hockey injury where the guy got the rate?
Oh yeah. We talked about it. We talked about it in one of the worst injury drafts. Yeah.
Yeah, that was James Harden the other night. It was scary. It was a very scary moment.
Yeah.
I was worried about him there for a little while.
Just a lot of he was just having a weird night, man. He was what was he 3 for 20 from the field?
Yeah, and he was 0 for 15 at one point. And I think in the press conference afterwards, of course, the media is going to point it out. They're like, "So what were you thinking when you were 0 for 15?" He was like, "Oh, really? I was 0 for 15 at that point? Oh, I didn't even realize."
Yeah, come on, James Harden. You know when when you're missing every single shot at the beginning. You might not know what the number was, but you know it's pretty high.
Yeah. Now, that's a problem with Harden, man. I always want to believe in him, but he's struggled. He's had some playoff real big issues, and it goes back to that Golden State series last year when the Rockets were 0 for 20 from three-point land in that Game 6, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Trying to close out the Golden State Warriors. They can get cold, and it all stems from James Harden. And when Harden gets cold, it's tough sledding. Now, they can still overcome that when they're playing a team like the Utah Jazz, and they can still get a win, especially when the surrounding pieces are having good games. But he can't get cold as the playoffs progress. He needs to be on every night. So he needs to figure out what's going on and get this corrected, because it's going to be tough. When he gets in that second round of the playoffs, there's not going to be any forgiveness. He's going to have to be on.
Yeah, if the Rockets end up playing the Warriors, him going 3 for 20 is going to equal a 130 to 104 score instead of a 104 to 101 score.
Oh, yeah, big time. There's not any room for error when you're going up against the Golden State Warriors. The Clippers could tell you that. Clippers, they feel the wrath of that, and other than that 31-point miraculous comeback, the Golden State Warriors have owned the Clippers in this series, and Golden State does not make a whole lot of mistakes, and they've got so much talent that you can't sleepwalk through that kind of series. And James Harden has to realize that this is his legacy, that he's got to start showing up in some of these playoff games if he really wants to be considered the best player or best offensive player of this era,
Yeah, and watching that Warriors-Clippers series, it's reminded me of Holly Holm versus Cyborg. Clippers they got a lot of fight, and they're throwing everything they can at the Warriors. And there was a moment where I think they took a 5-point lead, 82 to 77. And the crowd was getting into it, and you're like, oh, man, the Clippers might get another win here. They might make this series 2-2. And then the Warriors just turned it on, and they end up winning 113 to 105. And it's just like that. Holly Holm would just throw everything she could at Cyborg, but Cyborg was just too good. Clippers, they're doing their best, man, but Warriors, just too good, man.
See, I think that's the same as that Brooklyn series. They keep it close. Mm-hmm. There's fight. You see that there's the ability there, but when the talent on the other side is just so much greater, you're just not going to win those games. You're just not. And those teams have gotten one win. They didn't get swept. To me, that in itself is a feat. So the Clippers should be proud that they've gotten one win off of the Golden State Warriors. They were not built to win a championship this year, but they have put in their absolute best effort. And it's kind of one of those like heart and hustle type teams where you know that they don't have necessarily the full talent, but they have a heart and they have will and they have everything else that you need to be a great team. And they've put a great season together, and they should hang their hats on that.
Now, they reseed in the NBA, correct? I'm assuming? So,
yes.
Like, if the Spurs end up beating the Nuggets, it'll be Spurs versus Warriors?
Yes,
rather
I
than
believe
Warriors
so.
versus Rockets?
Yeah, I haven't looked ahead, but yeah, that right there would be the only chance for reseeding because, like I said, all these other games are kind of going how we thought they would, but that one's still just tied series. It could go either way. I'd like to see the Spurs make some noise. DeRozan, this last game, they got a little upset. They lose 117-103. DeMar DeRozan towards the end of that game throws the ball at the ref. It wasn't really that close to the ref, but it still was a pretty good, fastball over towards the ref. And NBA doesn't like that. He gets a $25,000 fine. But, man, that's just raw emotion. That's playoff emotion. And that's what I like to see, man. These guys, they don't want to lose. And when you start losing like that and you get frustrated with some of these calls, this playoff basketball stuff, you can see some stuff erupt. You can see some guys getting into it. And, throwing the ball at a ref, yeah, that's not a good thing, but I like to see that intensity and emotion.
So it's funny that you can throw a ball at a ref and you only get fined, but if you go into the ref's locker room to chew him out as a GM, you get suspended a game, which happened to the Brooklyn Nets GM, which I don't understand what suspending a GM from a game does. You'd think they would suspend him from, like, the draft or, like, the first day of free agency, but, like, you can't go into your press box and watch the game. You have to stay at home.
Yeah, it would kind of stink if you're the GM and you can't even watch the game live. You're like at home watching it on TV. That would kind of stink.
I don't think the team's like, oh no, our GM's not in the building. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, I get it. That's kind of like a safe place for the officials. Like the officials have their own little locker room.
No, I think there should be
room.
a punishment, but it's just kind of like a weird punishment.
Well, what other punishment?
It's like grounding your kid from your old Nintendo.
All right, so I have a good punishment for it. They put him out at halftime. They put him at the middle of the court, and then all of a sudden the lights go out, and then all of a sudden the Stone Cold Steve Austin theme comes on. Stone Cold comes out, gives him a quick stunner, and then gets beers for everybody, and the crowd goes crazy, and gets stunned in the middle of the court. Would that be? Would you think that was a good punishment for the crime?
I do like that, but that's not where I thought you were going.
Okay, where did you think I was going?
I thought you were going to say put him out in the middle of the court, and then the referees get like a bunch of basketballs, and then they get to just all like throw basketballs at him for like an entire minute.
That actually is probably just
But maybe that
good,
should be
if
the
not
punishment. Better. But maybe that should be the punishment for the player that threw a basketball at a referee. It's like tit for tat kind of thing, eye for an eye.
So, Chris America, I didn't even mention it, but our listeners, they can get interactive on Twitter, right?
Oh, yeah.
We are at Scout Team Radio, and one of our good listeners and good friend of the show, Memphis Spence, is already tweeting at us this morning. Thank you, Memphis Spence. We appreciate it. He said, that's a great question. What does suspending a GM from a game actually accomplish? And honestly, I don't know.
Nothing.
It does nothing, yeah. It's
like
not
they fined him
accomplishing a whole lot.
$25,000 too, so they might as well just made it $50,000 fine and then been done with it. But if you're going to suspend him from something, do it from the first round of the draft. Like, you don't get to be present for your first round pick, or you don't get to talk to any NBA players for the first day of free agency. You have to wait a day. Like, that would be a suspension that punishes a GM.
That would have a way more consequence than this one game suspension.
So
I mean, almost would have too much consequence, wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but then he would never do it again.
He would and no other GM would go into a referee's locker room again either.
It's true.
All right, so is it premature to start looking towards the second round matchups, Loudbeard, or are you ready for it? It sounds like you're ready for it.
I am ready for it. I was really excited about this first round, and I don't know. I always like it when there's a good underdog story, and there really isn't at this point. I mean, we could talk about the Nets.
You got the Spurs.
I don't know if I'm counting that as a true underdog story, because unfortunately the Denver Nuggets, they weren't given any street cred going into the playoffs. Everybody's like they're too young, they don't have the playoff experience. They've had a great regular season, but it'll be tough in the playoffs when they go up against some of these veterans. Well, what happens? It's tough in the playoffs when you go up against some of these veteran teams, like a team coached by Greg Popovich. So, again, it's what we thought it would be. So there's no surprises there. That's where I love to see. I was listening to the TNT crew, and Charles Barkley was telling it how it is. He's like, I'm just ready for round 2. Let's go back to the 5-game series. That way we get this over with quicker. Now, I don't think we should go to the 5-game series, but he's making a really good point. And I'm starting to lean more towards that. Well, why don't we go back to the 5-game series? Because we're kind of wasting our time here with these last games.
You know what they should do? I think they should kind of, you know how like the NFL gives you like a week 1 bye if you're the 2 best teams? They should do that for those 2 best teams. Like, how? Maybe not. Maybe that would be a punishment. I don't know how I feel about that. Hold on. If the 2 best teams get a 5-game series and then everybody else has a 7-game series, but it could be a punishment if one of those good teams sneaks up on you, like the Nuggets. I think they want their 4 games. They don't want to be in elimination time right now. How do you feel about that, Loudbeard, that idea?
I like kind of where you're going, but I'm thinking in a different mindset. Now, the NBA wouldn't like this because they would lose money because it'd be less games.
Right. I mean, that's why they went to the 7-game series.
Yeah, but if you looked at it, if you did a first-round bye for the 1 seed and the playoffs only had 7 seeds and not 8 seeds, and you just didn't have that 8th seed, so that 1 versus 8 game doesn't ever happen. You just give the 1 seed a bye. And
but in the NBA, like each round lasts a month, so I don't know if you want your team sitting for an entire month.
You get a free pass into the next round.
I mean,
you
do,
right.
But like especially a team like the Warriors where they go in rhythm and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm being a little bit over dramatic with the month-long thing, but it takes at least 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks for each round to go through.
You're embodying the true America right now. You are Chris America with all that drama that you bring. You are dramatic.
I am over dramatic. Maybe on the other side of the break we can go over the other matchups because I am getting kind of excited about it. Looking at these. You're going to have possibly Warriors versus Spurs. I do kind of like that matchup better than Warriors versus Warriors versus no Warriors Rockets. I kind of want to save that towards the end, don't you?
I
want that
too.
to be the final, like the Western Conference Finals. So now I'm really hoping for the Spurs to win because it'd be fun to see the Warriors go through the Spurs and the Rockets to get there. And hey, I could be talking way too far in advance. The Trailblazers could possibly take care of the Rockets.
It's a very good point. And we're talking about these teams like they're already done. 3-1 does not guarantee victory. So a team like Oklahoma City could come out and take care of business with the Trailblazers. I don't think they will, but that's a team that has enough talent to be able to do that. Now, I don't think the Clippers will. I don't think, there's some series where you're like, it's not going to happen. The Jazz aren't going to come back from a 3-0 hole. Like, these things aren't going to happen.
Right. The Nets might win one more game, but then the 76ers will probably take care of them.
Right. But a team like Oklahoma City might have that. Or, on the East, I'm trying to think of a team that might. Probably not.
The Magic.
East is pretty much
not the
done.
Nets.
I mean, the Pistons, there's no way.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah, none of that stuff's going to happen. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So let's go over those
ready.
matchups on the other side of the break.
I guess so. That's
let's
what you
do
want
it.
to do. All right.
I'm excited.
We'll be right back after a quick commercial break. Thank you all for listening in. Hey, Kawhi, what are you laughing at, man? This isn't funny. Fantasy sports reimagined. FanDuel, that's what I'm talking about. It is more than just fantasy sports. It's the best way to watch the games, win real cash, and bring the action right to your living room. Just choose a contest, make your picks, watch, and win. And if you go to FanDuel.com/STR today, you can get a $5 deposit bonus. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/STR. Come on, man. This is not a laughing matter.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. "12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst."
If you've been listening to Scout Team Radio for a long time, you know that myself, Loudbeard, has placed a bet or two in his day. That's right, I've lost the beard bet, I lost the romper bet, but one place I don't like losing is when I bet money, and I can easily do that at MyBookie. That's right, you can go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 12OZSports, and get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Hey, guess what? That is a lot of money. Do it.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Welcome back, and thank you all for listening in. Once again, we are Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every weekday morning, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. Replay comes on at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. You can check out each one live each and every day, Monday through Friday. We also record each episode as a podcast. You can find that podcast on our podcast network, our partner podcast network, barnburner.ca. Check them out. Website is barnburner.ca. That's right. They're up in Canada, our good friends up in the great north. Also, we record that episode and put it as a podcast on our own podcast channel. Check it out. Search on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, anywhere you find a podcast. Just search Scout Team Radio or go to our website, scoutteamradio.com. All right, I think I got through all the promo stuff. Yep, I think I did.
Yeah.
Chris America, yep.
Make
that
sure you
checks
subscribe
out.
to our iTunes, Apple
Yep.
Podcasts. Subscribe to our Podbean. Subscribe to our Stitcher. Subscribe to our Spotify. I always want to say SoundCloud. I don't think we're on SoundCloud.
No, we're not on SoundCloud. You can say it, but it would be inaccurate information.
Inaccurate,
but that's
yes.
okay. Well, it's totally
you can
inaccurate.
search for us on SoundCloud, and when you see that we're not on there, delete them because obviously you have no other reason to have SoundCloud, and then download Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or Apple Podcasts, which is already downloaded onto your phone. Can you get Apple Podcast on Google or no?
No, just the Google Play.
Or-
I don't think you can
okay.
get access to it.
I
Yeah.
didn't mean on Google, but I meant Android.
Yeah, nope. I believe you have to be an Apple phone or
Right,
or
yeah.
iPad or whatever to get that stuff.
Yeah.
So, Chris America, before we get into this next round of NBA playoffs, last I checked in with you, you were in season 2 of Game of Thrones. Did you catch up over this past week and then watch the episode last night, or are you still on Code Silence?
I'm still on Code Silence. So if you want me to put the headset down or the headphones down for like 30 seconds to a minute, I can do that.
No, it's okay. I won't talk
Okay.
about it too much.
I mean, there's other people that need to catch up too, or maybe they didn't get a chance to watch it last night and they're going to catch it tonight or tomorrow. Let's not throw out any spoilers out there, buddy. Not everybody.
I'm not throwing spoilers out. Just because you've been in a cryo chamber frozen in time for the last 5 years doesn't mean that I'm going to be throwing out spoilers. The internet did blow up, and I don't believe that this would be considered a spoiler, but the internet did blow up because everybody was Googling Arya's age last night. Just kind of a funny little side note. Just saying.
Okay. I'll have to wait like 6 months from now when I can find out what you're talking about.
The stuff is available, and you can look at it and watch it whenever you want, but I am not giving any spoilers to last night's show, but I am excited. You know what? This is a great time to be alive, Chris America. I'm just letting you know right now that this has been one of the best months for television, and it's only because of two things. Well, I say television, but just movies and TV. Avengers Endgame, I'm super excited about.
Yes.
The family and I, we have our tickets for next Saturday, and I'm not going opening night, but we are going to go Saturday afternoon, do a matinee showing, and I am super pumped for that. And then now Game of Thrones, the series finale. This is why when it's a good time to be alive and a nerd. Both of those things coincide, and it's just great. Hallelujah.
And it's kind of bittersweet, right? Because it's the end of the series. I mean, and you know they're going to start new ones, but this one's kind of it's been a part of our lives. We've been building up for this for over a decade or at a decade. Like, there's so many movies involved, so much storyline. Now, that's something that if you're not caught up on, that's going to take you forever to get caught up on. I mean,
with the 22 Marvel movies?
Yeah. Do you think you could watch just the Avengers and know exactly what's going on or no? I don't think you can. I think you have to watch some of those other movies.
Now, my wife, she hasn't watched a lot of the Marvel movies. I think she's seen a couple. Like we watched Black Panther together. She liked that. But there's several of them that she hasn't seen. We did see Captain Marvel together, so that might be the two that she's seen. Other than so I guess
you don't need to watch either of those movies to enjoy Avengers. Now, you might sit there and go, like, who are these people? And you won't get the full-on introduction and what their impact to the storyline is, but I don't know. It'd be a tough one to catch up on. And then later on this year, is it really the end of the Star Wars saga? Is 8 it? They're not going to make any more on that storyline?
I think it would be 9, right?
Or 9, yeah, sorry.
3?
Sorry, yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, here, I'm going to... A couple things. One, on that Avengers Endgame note with my wife, I watched Infinity War with her. We're like, okay, here, you at least have to watch this so that you kind of know what's going on.
Okay, I gotta get off Twitter. Scotty Kaiser's putting up too many spoilers over here. What a jerk!
Nice.
What a jerk! I gotta get off Twitter. I can't deal with him right now, with what he tweeted out.
Oh, he put that on the Facebook group, the Craft Brewed Sports Facebook group, and it is a very, very thing. So. Oh, it could be a spoiler. I don't know. Should you read it?
I already read it, so I just ignored it. I'm just gonna ignore it.
No,
I'm just gonna be like la 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 la. No, I didn't read it on the air.
If you already read it.
All right, I'll read it on the air.
Okay, go ahead.
Sure, because I already read it.
Like a
Captain
poem.
America and Jon Snow could both be dead by the end of the week. I am an emotional wreck, and none of it's happened yet. So now I even know it's not going to happen in episode 2. I didn't even read that part. God, what a jerk.
Yeah, a lot of setup. All the major
now,
stuff will be happening soon. So
now
but
I wish
again,
I could see
no spoilers.
Endgame. Now I wish I could see Endgame before him, but I know he's got some like
Sneak
promo,
peek.
like he's going to see a sneak peek.
Yeah, no spoilers
happy
out
with
there.
Scott Kaiser.
No spoilers. I'm not going till
Let's get
Saturday.
off of this topic so we can. Let's get off of this topic so we can talk. So I don't have
didn't
any
even
more
get to
spoilers.
finish my
going.
thought, man.
All right,
Let me
go
my
finish your thought. Finish your
Jeez,
thought.
Like 3
I'm
times
mad.
I'm trying to get this moving me on like that. So anyway, I just made my wife watch Infinity War, and she had no idea what was going on with half the characters. I had to explain 90% of it. So yeah, I think she's going to be completely lost in Endgame. I'm still going to love it. Okay, moving on.
I don't know.
Now you can move on to whatever you want to move on.
If she saw Infinity War, I think that there's enough meat to add to like know what's going on because they're really just going to add Ant-Man, right, and Captain Marvel, and that's really it, isn't it?
It is, but there's so many like tangled storylines into that. So I think
even if
she's
you've
going to
seen
have
them all-
a fair enough understanding
Yeah.
from Infinity War to know what now is going on. So yeah, I do think it cleared it up. But it was Infinity War I think was a little hard for her because that had so many just mixed in storylines. She's like, "Who's that guy? Who's this guy? I don't even know who that is." And I'm like having to explain who each character was. She didn't even know who Vision was. Okay, I'm moving on.
He said that's not a spoiler for anyone who knows anything. It's all speculation. Yeah, but I still know that Jon Snow is alive to die in season 7. So no more spoilers, guys. All right, I'm sorry I didn't have HBO. Sorry I'm not this hoity-toity bougie guy that has HBO.
I don't know if that's hoity-toity and bougie.
It is bougie to have HBO.
Bougie. I don't even know how to say that. So here's the deal.
It's so posh to have HBO.
He says it here on his tweet. He says, "Don't get mad just because you had 8 years of Game of Thrones to catch up on." I mean, it would take longer to catch up on Game of Thrones, I think, than the Marvel, right? Because what does the math
10,
look like?
Yeah. You're right because it's an hour-long episodes. There's like 8 to 10 episodes a season. It would take a little bit longer.
It's like 100 hours right now you got to catch
Yeah.
or 80 hours. Let's say 80 hours you got to catch up on that, and then about 40 to 50 hours of Marvel. Either way, you got a lot of catching up to do. Now Marvel you've caught up on.
No,
but Game of
Marvel
Thrones-
I'm on. I think I've only missed. No, I think I caught all of them. All the ones that I did miss, I went back and saw. Like I didn't see Doctor Strange for the longest time, so I finally saw that one like last year.
Which
kind of prep me up.
surprisingly had a lot of implications in this whole Avengers world.
No, I think that one was probably the most pivotal or the biggest one that you have to watch because like Black Panther didn't really add anything to the Avengers story, and neither did Ant-Man. But this one did because it had the Time Stone, and that's one of the stones that he needs. And Guardians of the Galaxy, also a big, huge. You have to see those movies in order to really get what's going on with Thanos and everything.
Yeah. The whole Nebula being mad and Gamora, that whole situation. It's there's a lot of layers to this. There's so many movies that tie in. The nice thing about that is when you have watched all the movies, like every little detail really makes sense to you. But if you are the casual or maybe a little bit less than casual fan and you haven't watched all the movies, some of the stuff goes over your head and you don't even realize it.
Well, there's some things where you're like, that went over your head, and then you talk to another Marvel fan, they're like, oh, remember in Thor, the second one, and this scene, this is what happened. You're like, oh, yeah, I completely forgot about that because it's been 10 years of like 22 movies. So much to remember. You almost got to take notes.
Yeah, and Scott Kaiser, he's got I have to read this tweet because this is perfect. This is dead on. He said his boy asked him the question yesterday, and he said, you have to watch all 22 of those. You got to stay at home until you do it. Everyone wants to be a part of it, even without putting in the work. That's not how it works. Pay your dues. That's right. You got to watch all of them, all 22 movies. You need to pay your dues. I have seen all of them, and I am so excited for Endgame. And you do. You have to watch all of them to really understand the full, total universe part of it. And if you haven't seen all of them, you're still going to enjoy it because I'm sure it's going to be an amazing movie nonetheless.
Yeah.
But if you have seen all of them, even the terrible Hulk from the very beginning, And like you can watch any of those movies and still now you need to know all of them. That's all I'm saying.
Now, Memphis Ben says rank the Marvel movie, Scout Team, and we don't have time for that. But I will give you a little hint that our draft will have something to do with this Avengers movie coming up this Friday. So stay tuned.
We're going full out Marvel nerd zone, nerd alert on the Friday, and that's okay.
We've gone all nerd alert these last 15 minutes.
Nothing wrong with that either.
No, usually we
get
the non-sports topics out of the way unless it's a draft. But today we're doing the opposite.
Yeah. And I had some, we got some NHL. We got still 10 minutes, but NHL playoffs. Got some interesting stuff there. We got Major League Baseball stuff. We got NFL draft. And all we talked about were the Avengers. So that means it's a successful episode.
It's been a great episode, Loudbeard, as all of them are. I love them all the same. So these round 2 matchups.
They're your babies.
I'm looking forward.
You don't have a favorite baby.
I don't. I'm looking forward to Raptors Sixers and Celtics Bucks. I think this Eastern Conference is going to be fun this year. I really have been enjoying the fact that LeBron James and the super LeBron James teams are gone out of the East.
So what are your predictions out of those two games?
I think we're going to have 6 or 7 game series. I really do. I think the Celtics can beat the Bucks, and I think the Sixers can beat the Raptors. And it's going to be fun. I think that would be a fun Eastern Conference Finals if you're into that whole Northeast rivalry thing between Philadelphia and Boston. That used to be a huge, huge rivalry. I mean, I'm sure it still is for those in Boston and Philadelphia, but it used to be big in the 70s and 80s, that Sixers-Celtics. Pat Williams used to be a part of that.
Okay. Orlando Magic legend.
Yeah.
I will say that, I hate to call it chalk here, but I see the Bucks taking that series against the Celtics. You know me, I'm not a big Kyrie Irving supporter.
Yeah.
And this Celtics team has been disappointing all season long. I think the Bucks take care of business, and I'm going to say that the Bucks win that series. The other series is the one that I am not so sure about. I believe in the Raptors, but that 76ers team that has so much talent, that is going to be I could easily see that being a 7-game series and that one going to the wire and the Raptors pulling out the slight edge on that one.
Yeah, so the Sixers and the Celtics have more star power, I think, when you talk about Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. And then you look at the 76ers, and it's that deep three, Ben Simmons, Embiid, and Butler. Yeah. And then you throw in Tobias Harris and all that. And J.J. Redick, he's good for 26 points every other night, which is ridiculous. And so they have the star power where the Bucks and the Raptors have the depth power, right? They have the names that maybe you don't know about, but they're really good players. So it's going to be fun to watch. And should be interesting to see how this turns out. Now, Kyrie Irving, you brought him up. Yesterday, you have to play a minimum of 50 games to be considered on this list. He became the top player with the best winning percentage in the playoffs all time.
Huh.
I think he has I'd have to see what it was, but it was around 78 to 80% win percentage in the playoffs.
That's because he's usually hurt. That's why it took him so long to get to that many.
Then he's only been in the league for 5 years.
How long?
Since 2014, right? Is when he came in the league? Or was it 13?
No,
5 or 6 years. 5 or 6 years. He hasn't been in that long. It feels like forever.
No, it feels longer than that. It's been longer than that. No,
all right, well,
no way.
I'll look into it. I'll look into it right now.
When was he drafted? Look at it. So, anyway,
he's only 27 years old.
I'm gonna pivot. Can I pivot?
You can pivot.
All right. While you looking that up,
okay, it is longer. It's 2011. Why do I feel like he came in and like he was only in his second or third year when LeBron got there? Okay, you're right. It's been 8 years.
That's a long time.
That is a long time.
Yeah. And the last year he was hurt. He was sitting on the bench. He didn't even show up half the time. He was a jerk.
No, he was off the whole playoffs, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he was just taking it leisurely. He didn't care. He had a I think his eyelid was sore or something. That's why he didn't play.
Oh, look at this on Wikipedia. It says that in the 2016 NBA Finals, he made a 3-point field goal with 53 seconds remaining in a tied Game 7 to help lead the Cavaliers to a championship.
Yeah, 53 seconds. That's the end of the game.
Yeah,
There was nothing else that happened after that. You're right.
Nope, nothing.
They just ran off the clock, right? All right, so I'm going to talk about this NHL. We're going to run out of time, so I'm going to go quick hitter here. Bruins, they get a 4-2 victory over the Leafs, so they've got a Game 7 going on in the NHL. I like it. Same thing, Sharks, they do it in double overtime, get the winner to push the Golden Knights to a Game 7. So the NHL playoffs, we didn't talk about it that much, but both number 1 seeds are out. We knew the Lightning were because we cried about it on this radio station and radio time for quite a while. But both number 1 seeds are out. So that right there makes for exciting playoffs. That would never happen in the NBA.
No, and you'd never see that happen in the NFL either.
Nope.
Or maybe you would. No, you would see it in the NFL, but it's different.
Well, they have the first week
the
bye.
1 seed, because the 1 seed don't play the 12 seed or it'd be the 6 seed in the NFL unless they win. So it's not often that you see the first round where the 2 1 seeds are out. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to see that, and you kind of wish you would see that in the NBA, don't you? Or do you not because you don't want to see all the superstars go away?
As I'm thinking about that, yes and no.
It's like,
I
would you
like
want to
the
see
excitement?
Would you want to see Golden State gone and then watch the who's the AC?
Actually, now that you say that, I really don't want to see Golden State make it win again. I'd rather if they were out in the first round, I'd say finally we don't get to see Golden State. Now with LeBron out of the playoffs and then Golden State losing in the first round, that would be heaven. That would be
okay.
heaven.
So we went back to talking about the NBA. So stick to hockey. What else you got on hockey, Loudbeard?
Oh no, that was it. That was my hockey talk.
Oh, okay.
Wait, no. Steve Yzerman returns to Detroit. That's a big deal.
Yep,
that's a big deal. He leaves the Lightning organization and he's got to rebuild a Detroit team that is in ruins. And he's got a lot of work ahead of him. But man, I think he's going to be the right guy to fix that franchise.
Maybe we'll see.
All right, now I got an NFL thing for you, and this is because I know you like talking about this guy. I want to finish your show off right. Patrick Mahomes, his agent reveals the other teams that were interested in drafting him, and this is why the Chiefs had to trade up so much to get Patrick Mahomes because there were some other teams interested in him. So think about this, how the world would be different right now if the Cardinals, the New York Giants, the New Orleans Saints, or the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those are the 4 teams that had Mahomes tabbed. Think of how the world would be different if Patrick Mahomes would have been drafted on one of those teams.
You know, you mentioned the Steelers and the Saints, and we would have run into an Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre situation if those 2 teams would have done that. Because I definitely by now, people would be watching practices in awe of Patrick Mahomes, especially with the Steelers missing the playoffs. It would be a huge deal with all right, is it time to get Big Ben out of there? You know, AB would have been like, I'm ready for Mahomes to be my guy and all that other stuff. So that would have been an interesting thing to see. But I think in the end of the day, when I think about those teams, other teams you mentioned, for Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs were the best spot for him to land.
What about the New York Giants? I'm going to put this scenario out to you. Remember when Geno Smith came in and started, and everybody's like, Ben McAdoo's a crazy man? Mm-hmm. What if it wasn't Geno Smith? What if it was Patrick Mahomes that came in and he was throwing the ball to Odell Beckham?
Yeah.
Think of how the Giants franchise, the future
it
would have been
different.
Oh, boy.
But I would have hated that for Patrick Mahomes because I think McAdoo's a bad coach. And so he would have kept McAdoo's job alive, I think, a little. It would have extended it a little bit longer than it should have. I like Patrick Mahomes with Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid was the best coach for him to go to. Now, I think Patrick Mahomes would be an MVP and a future Hall of Famer no matter what, but he definitely he was better served going to the Chiefs than the Giants. The Giants are a mess of a franchise.
They are, but they wouldn't be with Patrick Mahomes, or they wouldn't be as much with Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know.
Now, you talk about a great coach and you talk about an MVP and future Hall of Famer. Let's talk about John Gruden for just a second. So Gruden and Mayock send their entire scouting staff home so that they don't have all of these guys in this whole NFL draft war room leading up to the draft, this week before. Do you think this sounds like the craziest thing ever, where you take the guys that are supposed to be telling you who's good and you just kick them all out and say Mike Mayock and John Gruden are it? That's it. Nobody else has any information of what they're going to be doing. Crazy or brilliant?
Crazy. Anything you just mentioned John Gruden, I'm just going to say crazy.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. Aaron Judge is on the injured list, and we are really, 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 really close to being out of time, Chris America. Any
we could be out
final
of time
parting
now.
words?
The Rays still doing well, although they've lost a few games in a row lately. Not good. They're 5-5 in their last 10, 14-8. Go Rays.
Go Rays. It's been another great show. Thank you all for listening.
Yes, sir.
We love you guys.
You guys have a great week. We'll see you tomorrow.